Everyone laughed at him because his power was worthless. A D-rank lightning user in a world where only the strong survive. But everything changed the moment a mysterious system appeared, giving him a choice between two SSS-Rank powers, and what he chose destroyed everything. Theo awakens a lightning element with D-rank affinity, disappointing his expectations. While his friend Owen supports him, a wealthy student, David, gains a powerful, mutated fire element and humiliates them. Defeated, Theo returns home, but right then, everything changes. A mysterious system appears before him, offering an impossible choice between two SSS-Rank powers. Theo froze. A 1-hour countdown suddenly appeared in front of him, and a warning: if he doesn't choose, the system will disappear forever. His heart started racing. Was this real, or just a prank? From downstairs, his father called his name. Theo didn't answer. He stayed completely silent, because deep down, he knew this moment could change everything. He hesitated for a second, then made his choice. Upgrade lightning, not replace it. Suddenly, the screen turned bright yellow. Choice made. The countdown sped up. Theo clenched his fists and braced himself. Then, pain. A terrifying surge of electricity exploded inside his body, stronger than anything he felt before, way stronger than his first awakening. A blinding yellow light swallowed the weak purple core inside him and started destroying it, rebuilding it from scratch. Theo screamed, his vision blurred, his muscles locked. Lightning burst out of his body uncontrollably, striking the floor, cracking the walls, tearing his body apart, and rebuilding it at the same time. The entire room started shaking, lights shattered, everything went dark, the electricity went completely out of control. It didn't just destroy his room, it destroyed the entire apartment. Floors above, floors below, even the street lamps outside exploded, and then everything went black. Theo slowly opened his eyes. Hospital ceiling. His body felt strange, like he just drank 20 cups of coffee at once. Energy was overflowing inside him. He turned his head. His father was sitting beside him, bandaged, injured, but smiling. He told Theo everything was okay. His mother was on her way, but then he dropped the truth. The building caught fire because of an electrical explosion. Theo went silent. A doctor walked in and started checking him. His heart rate, abnormally fast, way beyond normal, but after hearing Theo just awakened lightning, he shrugged it off. Just a beginner energy leak. Theo slowly stood up, still feeling that overwhelming power inside him. Something was different. Something wasn't normal anymore. He looked at his hand. Electricity flickered for a second, and he thought, did I really just get an SSS-Rank power? Theo walked out of the room and found his parents waiting. His mother rushed toward him and hugged him tightly, like she almost lost him. But Theo noticed something else. His father was smiling, but it wasn't real. Behind that smile was stress, fear, and pressure. A few minutes later, they were in the car, silent, until Theo finally looked outside and froze. The building was completely destroyed, burned, gone, because of him. Guilt hit him instantly, hard. His parents didn't say anything, but Theo understood everything. They'd have to work nonstop now, just to survive. They stopped in front of Owen's house, and that's when they told him the truth. They'd be staying in the car near his mom's workplace until they find a cheap apartment. Theo stepped out slowly, watched them drive away, and in that moment, he made a decision. No matter what, he would fix this, fast. Later that night, Theo couldn't sit still, so he left, headed to an empty playground, alone. He sat down, closed his eyes, and entered a meditative state. Then he saw it, his core, but this time, it was completely different. The weak purple energy was gone, replaced by a mass blinding yellow core. Theo's eyes widened. This is my power now? He immediately started refining it, from gray to bronze. And that's when things got insane. What should take months, maybe even years for others, was happening way too fast. His new power was on a completely different level. Theo calculated it quickly. At this speed, he could reach bronze in just 3 weeks. He opened his eyes suddenly. A A smile slowly appeared on his face, excited, shocked, almost unbelieving, because now, for the first time, he realized something. This power could change everything. Theo was still reflecting on his power when Owen joined him on the bench, mistakenly believing that Theo was emotionally crushed by everything that just happened. Theo didn't correct him. Instead, he made a silent promise. His new SSS-Rank affinity would solve everything. For his parents, Owen dropped some massive news. The city had just announced it. This year's youth competition for the newly awakened. And the prize? It was insane. Winners could choose Bao, a magical artifact, or an elemental resource, worth up to $1 million. Theo was stunned. He had to compete, to secure a spot at the prestigious Aurelian Academy, and finally, lift his family out of poverty. Later that night, Theo lay awake, thinking about that blue hologram. Then, it hit him. The warning said the system would disappear if he didn't choose, which meant it might reappear, with even more insane choices in the future. But Theo wasn't going to wait. He wouldn't rely on uncertainty. He made up his mind. He would join the Hunters Association as quickly as possible, maybe even within a week, to start earning real money. But to get accepted, he needed an official combat spell, so he'd use his free spell library ticket, find the perfect spell, and prepare for the challenges ahead. And with that clear plan in mind, Theo finally closed his eyes and fell asleep. Theo woke up early, feeling completely energized. He had one plan today: find and master a spell before school resumed, because in his mind, a slow hunter is a dead hunter. Downstairs in the living room, he met Owen's father, Daniel, who immediately insisted on one thing: waking Owen up to join Theo's morning run. But before they left, Daniel handed Theo something, one of Owen's old phones, to replace the one he lost in the fire. The gesture hit Theo hard, deeply moving him, and right then, he made a silent vow. He would repay their kindness 100-fold. Later, during their run in the freezing cold, they stopped by the sea and opened the global spell index. Theo had 3 options for his current gray core level: lightning whip, lightning ball, and lightning bolts. He analyzed them strategically. The whip, too short-ranged. The ball, too slow. So he made his choice. Lightning bolts, superior speed, and multi-shot capability. He used his free ticket and downloaded it instantly. Meanwhile, Owen made his own choice. Rock Shield, ready to act as Theo's defender. With their spells secured, the two headed back, eager, determined, ready to begin their training immediately. The next morning, after a heavy breakfast made by Daniel, Theo didn't waste a single second. He ran straight back to the playground. Today, he was going to test his new spell, Lightning Bolt. He took a deep breath, focused his energy, and raised his hand. But the moment he tried to control it, something felt wrong. The mana inside him was too strong, too wild, like it had a mind of its own. What is this? He tried to release it anyway. Boom! His hand went numb instantly. Theo stepped back, shocked. That didn't go well. Second try. This time, he focused harder, calmer, more precise. Then, he fired. A massive yellow beam shot forward and hit the target. Not just hitting it, it completely disintegrated it. The metal playhouse was gone, like it never existed. Theo stood there in silence, eyes wide. A beginner spell should barely burn. So how did I just destroy it? Then it hit him. This wasn't normal lightning. This was SSS-Rank power. At that moment, Owen arrived. He looked at the destroyed playground, then at Theo, then back again. What did you do? Theo scratched his head. Training. A few minutes later, they both agreed on one thing. Yeah, we can't train here anymore. So they moved to a nearby forest, far from people, far from problems. This time, Theo tried something different. Instead of blasting, he controlled, condensed, focused. Slowly, a small lightning bolt formed in the air, stable, sharp, controlled. Theo smiled. This is it. But suddenly, a sharp pain hit his chest. His breathing stopped for a second. His core trembled. Theo immediately canceled the spell. Too much. If I push it, I could damage my core. He stepped back, calming himself down. Meanwhile, Owen was still training too, or at least trying. He stood there, staring at a rock. Move. Nothing. Move. Still nothing. Theo looked at him and couldn't help but laugh. Two completely different worlds. One with overwhelming power. The other, still trying to move a pebble. And just like that, 2 days passed, non-stop training, no breaks, no excuses, because both of them knew what's coming next isn't going to be easy. Monday morning, Owen was already complaining. Man, I hate school. But Theo, he wasn't even listening. His mind was somewhere else, focused, sharp, on one thing only, lightning bolt. He kept replaying it in his head, every movement, every detail. They arrived at the school gates, and that's when they saw it. A massive banner. Youth competition. Theo stopped walking, eyes locked on it. This was it, without hesitation. I'm registering. Owen turned to him, confused. Wait, seriously? We're low rank, bro. Theo didn't even look at him. I don't care. A short pause. Then Owen sighed. Fine. I'm in too. Not because he believed he could win, but because he wasn't leaving Theo alone. A few minutes later, they entered the registration hall, and that's when things went bad. A familiar voice echoed behind them, mocking, arrogant. Well, well, if it isn't the guy who burned his own house. Theo froze. He turned slowly and saw him, David Whitmore, rich, powerful, and unbearable. He smirked, looked Theo up and down. Tell me, where are your parents sleeping now? Still in the street? Theo's fists tightened, but he stayed silent. Not for himself, for his family. But David didn't stop. Oh, wait. Isn't your dad just a janitor? He leaned closer and whispered, like a dog. Silence. That was it. Owen snapped. Before anyone could react. Bam! His fist slammed into David's face. David stumbled back, blood dripping from his nose. The entire hall went quiet. Then, rage, pure rage filled his eyes. You're dead, he pointed at Owen. I'll have your parents fired. I'll ruin your entire life. Owen froze, but Theo didn't. In that moment, he made a decision. Step forward, take the hit, protect his friend. Without hesitation, Theo moved. Crack! His punch landed clean. David's nose broke instantly. Blood exploded everywhere. Gasps filled the hall. Theo stood there, calm, cold. I'm the one you want. David slowly stood up, face covered in blood, eyes filled with madness. The tension exploded. And just as things were about to get out of control, a voice echoed across the hallway. Sharp, powerful, authoritative. Enough! Everything stopped. The tension in the hallway was about to explode. Then, the door slammed open. Vice Principal Jones walked in, furious. His eyes scanned the scene. Broken nose, blood everywhere, students frozen. What is going on here? Before anyone could answer, David shouted immediately. He attacked me! He broke my nose! Playing the victim perfectly. All eyes turned to Theo, but Theo didn't panic, didn't deny it. I hit him. Silence. But he insulted my family first. Jones didn't care, not even a little. Enough. His voice was cold, decisive. All of you, come with me. No discussion, no explanation. Minutes later, they stood inside the principal's office. Theo looked up and froze. Someone else was there, a woman, elegant, calm, but something about her felt dangerous. Then, the principal noticed David, injured, bleeding, and instantly, he made his decision, without asking questions, without hearing both sides. To protect the school's reputation, you two are expelled. Theo's eyes widened. Owen froze beside him. Just like that, everything was over, or at least, it should have been. That won't be necessary. The woman finally spoke. Her voice was calm, but heavy. Everyone turned toward her. She slowly stood up, raised her hand, and activated a spell. A soft glow filled the room. In seconds, David's broken nose was completely healed. No blood, no injury, like nothing ever happened. The room went silent. Then, her expression changed. Cold, sharp. She looked directly at the principal. "You made your decision?" Without hearing the full story, the principal stiffened. "This is unacceptable." Her presence alone was suffocating. Then she dropped to the real threat. "If this is how your school handles things, then maybe it shouldn't participate in the youth competition at all." Silence. Heavy, dangerous silence. The principal's face turned pale. That wasn't just a warning. That was power. Real power. He said nothing. Could say nothing. And just like that, the situation flipped. The woman turned toward Theo, then Owen, her eyes calm, but piercing. "Now, tell me what really happened," detailing how David insulted his father by calling him a dog. When David tried to interrupt with lies, the mysterious woman used a silencing spell, leaving him completely speechless. Theo continued. He explained that David's threats to evict and enslave Owen's family were the real reason for the punch. Impressed by Theo's integrity, the woman countered the principal's attempted expulsion with a balanced proposal: a 1-week suspension for David, 2 weeks for Owen, and 1 month for Theo. Despite David's furious threats of lawsuits, the woman settled the matter. She scheduled a formal duel between Theo and David right in the opening round of the youth competition. Both accepted. David out of pure arrogance, and Theo out of strategic necessity. After leaving the office, Theo reassured a worried Owen. He viewed their suspension not as a punishment, but as a perfect opportunity for intense training. Theo then revealed his next move. He would take the hunter's exam the very next day to gain real combat experience. As they headed back to the forest, they had only one goal in mind: reaching the silver core before the tournament in 3 months. The next morning, Theo was alone in the forest, practicing his lightning bolt without closing his eyes. He successfully disintegrated a tree branch with impressive precision. Feeling fully prepared for the Hunter Association exam in 4 hours, he returned home and was warmly greeted by Owen's mother, Laura. Upstairs, he found Owen meditating, and they joked about Theo's future missions. When Owen asked if he'd jump straight into a dungeon, Theo sensibly replied that he lacked real combat experience for such a risk. During meditation, Theo observed that his gray core was rapidly filling with bronze specks. This confirmed he'd reached the bronze stage in less than 3 weeks. As the exam time approached, Theo geared up, received a supportive farewell from Daniel, and headed toward the massive Hunter Association building. Confident in both the combat and written portions of the test, he told himself, "I've got this." As Theo entered the Hunter Association, he felt the heavy atmosphere of professionalism. Despite the receptionist's skeptical look due to his age, he proceeded to the second floor for the exam. The first stage was the written test, where Theo faced tough scenarios, such as deciding whether to save a wounded hunter while low on mana. He chose the rational path of retreating and calling for backup, prioritizing survival over reckless heroism, and passed successfully. He then moved to the combat testing hall, a massive reinforced space. While waiting, he noticed that although most examinees were at the bronze stage, their raw power seemed inferior to his. When his name was called, the examiner looked bored, expecting a waste of time. Theo stepped into the designated circle. He focused his intense yellow lightning and formed a long, crackling bolt. The room fell silent as the examiner's eyes widened in shock. Theo fired. The bolt tore through the air, hitting the target with a thunderous boom that shook the entire hall. The lightning bolt completely disintegrated the metal dummy, leaving the room in deathly silence and everyone in shock. Theo realized he had overdone it. And the examiner, Marco, couldn't believe a basic spell could cause such destruction. When asked about his affinity, Theo cleverly claimed his lightning was mutated to hide his SSS-Rank secret. Impressed, Marco handed him a recruitment card for the Hunsung Hunter Group, a prestigious team led by an expert near the platinum rank. Theo officially received his low-class hunter license, feeling a surge of excitement that he could finally provide for his family. On his way out, he spotted a coastal patrol mission requested by the military, offering a staggering $500 per day, recognizing it as a safe and high-paying opportunity to train and earn. Theo quickly logged into the association's portal and secured one of the last remaining slots. Now, Theo was officially a working hunter, with a clear path to financial stability. Theo stood in the hall calculating his profits. $3,500 in a week. In just 8 days, he'd have enough for an apartment down payment to get his parents out of the car. Back at Owen's, they celebrated his new hunter license with a great dinner. Later that night, while gaming with Owen, Theo received his mission details for 5 a.m. at Shoreline Park, noting a high alert status. He brushed off the worry as a precaution and prepared for bed, but the blue screen suddenly reappeared with a bizarre choice: unlimited cake or unlimited ice cream. Theo logically concluded that cake was more practical, since it wouldn't melt and could sustain him during missions. Upon choosing option A, the system granted him the ability to summon any high-quality cake instantly. After testing it with a fresh chocolate cake and then a strawberry one, he was amazed by the professional taste. Just then, Owen walked in, completely dazed, asking, "What the hell? Is that cake?" Theo cleverly convinced Owen and his parents that the cakes were a surprise gift to celebrate his success. Later, he discovered a new cooldown feature on the system, showing that the next choice would appear in about 3 days, which eased his mind. The next morning at 5 a.m., Theo headed to Shoreline Park for his first mission. After receiving an emergency signal device from the military and learning that backup takes 3 minutes to arrive, he began his patrol in Section B. Initially, the mission seemed like easy money. Theo even summoned a lemon cake to pass the time, while watching the horizon. However, the calm was suddenly broken as the water began to bubble and foam. Theo stood up, his heart racing, as he caught sight of a scaly head, emerging from the ocean waves for the first time. Theo stood stunned as an F-rank shore dweller emerged from the water, a human-sized creature with gray scales and bulging fish eyes. The monster shrieked and charged at him with terrifying speed. Theo struggled to stay calm and formed a lightning bolt. Just as the creature's claws reached for his neck, he fired, disintegrating its arm instantly. Despite the agony, the monster lunged again. Panicked, Theo dodged a lethal strike and released a raw burst of mana directly into the creature's torso, blowing a hole through it and leaving it a smoking corpse. Theo stood trembling, disgusted by the stench of burnt flesh. He realized he had wasted 25% of his mana due to panic and lack of experience. He spent the next few hours recovering and staying alert. As the sun began to set, the water bubbled violently again, but this time in 3 different spots. 3 scaly heads emerged simultaneously.